Hi guys, it's finally here. I promised to film this video like a month ago or something, and I didn't get round to it. I've had a lot on lately. My band, Reversing Destiny, check it out on Facebook. We're working on our EP at the minute, so I've just been really busy. I haven't really had a chance to put this together, get all my figures together and stuff. There is another Batman figure that won't be on this list. It was an armoured Batman, a 12-inch one from the Multiverse. It's just really high up on my shelf, and I couldn't be bothered to get it down. So we'll just look at these figures, who are roughly all around the same size. And I'm not really doing it in any particular order. I'm just going to pick things off. I'm going to try and do it pretty quickly as well. Because the last two times I tried to shoot this, it went well into the 20 minutes. And as much as we all love Batman, in case I didn't say that, I can never decide between Batman and Spider-Man, but I think Batman is the first superhero I was ever exposed to. So by law of averages, Batman is my favourite. Although I relate to Spider-Man more. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. I'll start with this one up front. It's not a case of first the worst. Okay, because this is actually one of my favourite Batman figures. So this is him in his rebirth attire, and I really like the design. I really like DC icons anyway. A lot of people didn't, but I really like them. I actually think they're really good competitors for high-end import figures, but that's just me. They don't do everything perfectly, but they have nice articulation and they look really nice. I love the head sculpt on this Batman. Also, I love the deco of the Rebirth style as well, with a purple under there. That's like a nod to his purple gloves, I guess. But yeah, just a really nice, modern / keeping the elements of classic Batman aside, and this figure just looks nice overall. Definitely one of my favourites in my collection. I hope I don't say that for every figure. We'll look at this one next. So this is the Lee Bermejo Batman. I think, is it based on F2 or F1? I can't remember now. As soon as the camera starts, I always forget. But he's got a really nice sculpted cape, which is kind of different to most Batman figures. And he has a really nice face sculpt as well. His eyes aren't whited out. I had a QC issue on mine. I don't know if you can see. Look, there's a nick on his nose. I'll probably repaint that. But yeah, he comes with 2 sets of hands. He comes with a Batarang. And he just looks really cool. He's got a lot of presence. I really like this figure anyway, just because he reminds me of a really weathered old sort of Batman with a really mean-looking face. It's actually a really good figure. Got ankle pivot. So he's got some good articulation, not nearly as much as Legends, but I don't really care. I will say this now, just so I don't keep saying it all through the video. I don't base my action figure collecting on who has the most articulation. Sometimes, if the sculpt is really, really good, okay, and the figure looks really good, screw the articulation. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to quickly do this one. I got this in I bought some figures off this guy on Facebook, and he just threw this in. If you don't know, it's a Mafex Batman vs Superman knockoff. So it's everything you would expect of a knockoff. Got really dodgy paint for his eyes. I lost his hand. I don't know where that is at the minute. Oh, and he just falls apart because he's a knockoff. But I don't really collect import figures, so I'm not really that bothered, and this is just nice to have. But yeah, it does once again confirm the fact that I don't really like imports. I don't like the way the joints work or the way they're designed. Like, look, you kick his leg out and it comes out to the side. I don't know, I'm not a fan of the articulation. Although they have good articulation, like most imports, I'm just not a fan. I don't really see a huge appeal for it. Shout out to Sally McLaughlin That's Brooke's mother. She picked me this up from a car boot, and that's what I say. These type of Batman figures are one of my favourites. They're very nostalgic to me because I had a lot of them when I was a kid. I never had this one, so I was really happy to get it. And I would love to get some other ones, like a blue and grey version in this style. They are Kenner. I want to say Kenner. They might not be. They might be Toy Biz. But, yeah, just love this figure. Love the head sculpt and the way the cape is. That is Batman to me. That's what Batman looked like when I was a kid. So, not, from the face and stuff, not the red costume, because they all had those weird gimmicks, and the articulation now is dated, but for the time, it was pretty awesome. And, yeah, this one's got a soft spot. Quite sentimental to me, that one. Do like it. We'll do this one next. So this is the Multiverse. And this, just to get it up again, this is what I mean, like, this is the Multiverse, Batman vs Superman, or it was the Suicide Squad release. So this is actually an awesome figure. I did one in a giveaway not too long ago, and you get so much accessories with it and stuff, and the articulation's okay, but I mean, this is what I mean. Okay, this one's suit looks more accurate, you would argue, but this Batman looks more filled out. He looks more screen accurate, in my opinion. There's problems with the way the chest is designed on this one and that, but I like this one a lot more. I'm just one of a kind to prefer a Multiverse figure over an import figure, but I actually really do love this figure. I was really happy to get it. I've bought 3 in my time, because I bought one, then I bought another one to keep on card, even though I don't do that, but I just really like this figure. And then I bought one for a giveaway. So, there we go. Really like this Batman figure, if you can get it, because you can find it sometimes in, like, home bargains, quite cheap, $3.99 or something. It's worth jumping on, because arguably, for his time, he was probably one of the best figures released that year. Oh, yeah, and Deadshot was really good from that wave as well. Where should we go next? We'll go to the Dark Knight Returns Batman. Didn't come with this grappling hook. I can't remember where I got that from. But this is so this one was released twice. There was a different sort of paint job where it was like black and grey, and his face paint was a little bit different. But this is the only grey-blue Batman I have in my collection, which sucks, because I would love a grey-blue Batman or more grey-blue Batman figures. Subject to availability, like I always say. I just buy what I can come across. Some of them can be quite hard to get. Like, I really want the new Essentials Batman. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I really want it. So, hook me up if you hate that figure. But yeah, this one's a good one. Again, not all the articulation in the world, but a really nice sculpt, and he looks good on a shelf. So, I mean, I can't argue with that. Really like it. And like that style of Batman as well. So it brings me on to this one. It's just important for Batman's lore, because this is him at his tail end of his career. But I had to get the animated armoured Batman suit from Multiverse. This is a phenomenal figure. I forget how good this figure is. It's not, like, amazing. It's fairly basic. But I forget how much fun I have playing with it until I keep picking it up again and stuff. There are problems. He doesn't hold his gun thing super well. But yeah, he has like this soft thing, so you can still use his ab crunch that's there. Just really nice figure. And he goes really well with your other Batmans. If you're trying to do like an evolution. Yeah, really like that one. Next we'll do the animated oh my gosh, right, the animated series. I do not buy these figures. They're good figures, and I did have a lot at one point, but then I sold them again. The only ones I really wanted... Ow. The only ones I really wanted... And Robin making an appearance in the video with these, okay? 1992 I was born, and this programme aired, and it was on telly for at least 10 years after that. I watched like every episode. Me and my cousin are hardcore fans of the animated series of Batman. In fact, it's got a lot of fans. It was just done really well. And I don't know if it was ever even intended to be a kids show, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I've been waiting for figures like this for at least 18 years, because when I was just younger and you wanted to buy animated series figures, they were all gimmicky, and they didn't look like this. And this is what I wanted. When I think of Batman, it's always this Batman. And these two, as it happens, now are two of my most treasured figures in my collection, just because of how long I was waiting for them to make a figure like this. Really, really good figures, guys. If you can get the set with a bat signal, I recommend you do that as well. Just awesome, awesome figures. One of my favourite Batman figures, that one as well. Yeah, I want to say that about most of these, I think. So this one is the DC Multiverse Batman Forever Batman. I don't know how many people enjoyed this figure, but I'm going to quickly say, I'm not going to go over it all. He has an amazing articulation. His head doesn't have the best range of motion, but it's more than most multiverse figures. Double jointed elbows and knees, and an ab crunch that works really well. And all the accessories you get with him as well, so like a flight stand, different hands for holding his grapple hook and stuff. This is just solid release, in my opinion. They even sculpted the nipples on the Batsuit, which, you know, typically I'm not a fan of, but at least it's accurate. The only drawback with this figure, if I was going to say anything, is it doesn't really have an awesome Batman Forever head sculpt, but it works, it gets away with it. Has a nice cape. You have a lot of options with the cape as well. You can just sort of throw it over his shoulders, and that looks pretty good as well. So yeah, really nice figure, this one. Underrated, I will say, definitely. Right, we'll do this one. Oh lordy. So this one is a Lee Pajama, not Lee Pajama, you div, it's Darwyn Cooke. It's the Darwyn Cooke Batman. Fairly basic, still looks amazing, because you can get him in some really cool poses. You can see, looking at this one, okay, that, you know, this was a concept design or Darwyn Cooke did the concept design for the Batman animated series. But the other thing I like about this figure, okay, is I typically use this one. I love the amount of articulation in the head. The range of motion is amazing. And I've got this thing in some pretty cool poses to say he's got basic articulation. No ab crunch or anything, just arms and legs. Pretty much that move. Oh yeah, and your waist. But yeah, I've got him in some cool poses. This one, right, I call my year one Batman. Or that's what I have him displayed as. He's my year one Batman, based on the Frank Miller. He's not based on that, but that's what I use him as, because he reminds me of it every time I see it. You know, at the end, when the credits roll and you see him jumping through the signal, he has a nice glossy bat signal. That can be difficult, though, when you're taking photos. But, oh well, it's still a brilliant figure. I really like it. He just has a charm about him that other ones lack. Do this one next. This is the Alex Ross Batman. Again, basic articulation, but damn does this one look good on a shelf. He has a really nice cape. He makes a really nice silhouette, actually. That's why I love this one. But yeah, there was another release of this where he was shiny and stuff. I hated that. But just looking at this one now, excellent sculpt and musculature. He just looks really, really nice, especially when you put him next to other Batman figures. He transitions really nicely. Yeah, probably the strongest figure in that Justice League set, I would say, actually. But yeah, really like this Batman. And I always liked Alex Ross's designs and stuff as well. Really hyped for that Alex Ross Iron Man when it comes. We'll do this one next. So, Right, couple of these figures, they were part of a big 75 anniversary case. I will just quickly say that. I got a couple of them, like 4 of them together. So this is Batman, based on his Super Friends design. He wasn't black and grey in Super Friends, but I'll forgive that. He actually looks really nice. His face reminds me of the Adam West cartoon intro. Yeah, it's just a really nice figure. He's the only comic-style Batman I have with the oval on his chest. He has quite a soft sculpt, but I think it works for him. He looks really nice, and once again, just like the Alex Ross one, it's just nice to, like, say, have this guy and the Darwin Cook one and the Alex Ross to all stand next to each other. It rounds it out really nicely. Right, these last ones, guys. Don't you dare. These last ones are all New 52. And it's kind of cool I saved it for last, actually, because as it happens, the New 52 Batman is my favourite design. Okay, so let's start. Oh, for God's sake. Let's start with this one. Now, this is the one based on Snyder's work, I want to say. This figure here is the perfect example, okay, of if a figure doesn't have loads of articulation, it can still be a really good figure. So this thing is one of the most impressive looking figures in my collection. You do have some great articulation in parts, but then you know, he has fairly basic everywhere else. But he does have bicep swivels and stuff. He came in a 3-pack with a Wonder Woman and Superman. All 3 of the figures, absolutely phenomenal. Really, really like him. And just look at this figure. Just look at it. I mean, if you have this, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because if you don't have it, you won't know. But it's just done really, really nice. All the sculpt's really nice. The detail's absolutely phenomenal. And that head sculpt, I wish I could show you better. But that head sculpt is just amazing, okay? He's one of my favourite Batman figures I own. Looks really nice. Only drawback, cape goes down quite far, which can be problematic sometimes. It bends his legs out all funny ways. It's just a bad design, but that's not the figure's fault. The figure's actually really, really well. You see how it's like indented the cape because he'll just start leaning forwards. But yeah, is really, really awesome. We'll do Jay Lee next. So the Jay Lee one, once again, I really enjoyed the Batman Superman run that he did. I have the Superman, the Jay Lee Superman as well. And this, with the Jay Lee Superman, they're just okay. The shelf presence, they just look insane. Once again, basic articulation. He has those weird Marvel Select / DC Universe legs. But once again, just looks really nice. My favourite thing about this one, apart from the paint, which really brings the figure to life in Jay Lee's style, but he has such a unique looking cape. Really nice sculpted, very gothic. I love this Batman. He looks amazing when you take pictures of him. Yeah, he's just absolutely sick. Such a good figure. And so's the Jay Lee Superman figure as well. I haven't got as many Superman figures, but I would like to do a video like this with Superman as well. We'll quickly go to this one. This is my favourite Batman in my collection. It's so I bought this about 5 or 6 years ago. Still got it. He looks amazing. He's the only DC Universe Classics figure I have, or DC Superpowers or Super Heroes, whichever line he came from. They're all sublines of each other though. He's just absolutely amazing. He does everything I want him to do in a Batman figure. He has a nice cape, has a nice Batman head sculpt. There was another one of this again that was released, and he was shinier. I preferred this one. You just can't go wrong with this Batman figure, and he poses pretty nicely as well. Let me just get him in a pose for you. As you can see, he poses really nicely. And so I typically use this one and my Icons ones the most for my pictures. Just really like them. Them two favourite figures in my collection. And it just helps that this one's based on the New 52 design as well, because I love that suit. But yeah, have to say, this is my favourite Batman figure currently in my collection. And then the last two, okay, so Greg Capullo is my favourite Batman artist. Because I went off comics for a long time, and then when I got back into it, Greg Capullo's Batman really dragged me in. So I got this standard style one. He has amazing articulation. He's a super articulated figure. Not quite as much as a Marvel Legend, but almost. I had a QC issue on mine with paint on it, but I could sort that out if I wanted to. But it don't bother me. This is another one I take a lot of photos of, actually. Just really love that head sculpt. And the cape again. Unique style cape. Just looks amazing. And then last but not least, okay guys. This figure is a grail of mine. I was looking for it for so long. I don't care if other people don't like it or anything like that. I really loved that Savage City story. It's been one of my favourite storylines in the last 10 years. One of my favourites. This and Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man. But yeah, oh my god, I missed out on this 4 times. And I've got to give a huge shout out to Brooke's sister Cherie, because she got me this for Christmas. And I remember 4 times at Comic-Con, I looked at this figure, went back to getting it, and it was gone. Okay, every time I've gone to buy this figure, I've been cursed because it's gone in 5 minutes. But now, I opened it on Christmas and I was beside myself. You know, it's one of my grails, a figure I've always wanted. It comes with a knife, he's got his old style grapple hook, he's got that big backpack with a shovel and the bow and arrow. And the only other thing they could have give you with this figure to make it that more awesome would have been that motorbike that he was driving around on. But I don't care about this. It even looks great in photos. But I just really, really love this figure. It is a one-of-a-kind figure. And again, just one of the main grails in my collection. I'm not going to take it off the table because then you'll have nothing to look at. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Once again, this video's gone over 20 minutes and I didn't want it to, but I just love Batman so much, and hopefully you do too, so you stuck around. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. You want to see a Superman video, let me know. I've got content planned anyway, so you won't be bored. See you guys soon. Peace. I'm going.